Hello, everyone. You are at Thai Global Summit 2020 Hyderabad chapter. We have some really interesting sessions that have been going on today since morning, and we are here with another one for you. The name of the session is Masterclass Five Pillars of Digital Strategy. And we have with us Mr. Ravi Shankar, who is the Vice President Marketing for Control S and for Cloud 4C. Over to you, Mr. Ravi Shankar.
Thank you, Jasleen. Sorry to disappoint you. I'm not the one who's going to be doing all the masterclass presentation. I'm nowhere near as qualified as the guest to do it. In the last 22 odd years, this gentleman has led agencies and brands through transition from traditional storytelling as we knew advertising to what is now more commonplace in terms of digital storytelling. And in that process, is co-founded and launched two heavily awarded digital agencies, built large cross-functional teams across geographies, created award-winning work, nurtured and led key client relationships. And the great funny thing is the previous session was masterclass on how do we use LinkedIn effectively, and I think this gentleman knows it, right? Because how I know him is essentially through LinkedIn. That's how I sort of got in touch with him, and I think I dare say that we have a blooming friendship out there. He is Prashant, the founder and CEO of Gravity Integrated, a hybrid where, most importantly for all the clients, potential clients, business people and entrepreneurs out there, business consulting meets digital marketing. So it's not just gyan, but it's also about executing that gyan. And I genuinely believe that there's no better person than, Prashant to talk about, the five pillars of effective digital marketing that you can learn, hopefully implement, but more importantly, hire the right set of people to do it for you. So over to you, Prashant. Let me not take any more of your time here.
Thank you, Ravi. Good morning, everyone. Hi, this is Prashant Chalapalli. As Ravi so eloquently introduced me, thank you so much for introducing me, Ravi. The session today is, as Ravi rightly said, I'm not a big believer in giving gyan on digital because I think there is too much gyan out there. What I believe in is how do you practically implement that in your everyday life for your brand, if you're an entrepreneur, for your company, and if you see, some frameworks. I want to present like 5 frameworks for each of the pillars, and I'm leaving the deck behind with Ravi and the team. And any of you wants to access it, take it. Please feel free to do that. Just a little bit, believe that if you don't blow your own trumpet, nobody else is going to blow it for you. So before we get into the presentation, I just want to quickly talk to you about what we do. We are Gravity Integrated, 3 co-founders. I come with 22 years of experience across creative agencies and digital agencies. I have 2 of the co-founders. One is a hardcore business marketer with 22 years of experience across P&G, Chennai Super Kings, Gulf Oil, Philips, and Blowplast. And the third co-founder is a 20 years experience in consumer and brand strategy across the client and agency side in India and Southeast Asia, right? We call ourselves the coming together of commerce, culture, communications, and technology. And we are a hybrid between a business strategy consulting firm where we work with a lot of startups, helping them build their business strategy, helping them build their brand and marketing calendars. In a couple of cases, so increasingly clients have started outsourcing their CMO function to us. The second part of it is digital communications, where we work with a bunch of medium and large clients handling their performance creative as well as their integrated creative mandates. Our core focus in one line is we want to create sustainable business growth in therefore, we don't ask for briefs. We ask for a problem that you want us to solve. We will come to you with the solution. We will also execute it and be held accountable for the outcome. Which brings me to the next point. We do not look at outputs, right? We don't have a solution in mind, and that's the reason why we don't ask for a brief. We are very outcome focused. And outcome for us is only 2 things, right? One is how does what we do impact the brand? And second, how does it impact revenue, whether it's top line or bottom line? And those are the 2 things that we focus on, because our very clear thinking is, our belief is that if you can't impact business, then you're not impacting anything. And Gravity was one of the things which I always talk about is you should only start a business if you are helping somebody solve a problem that they have not been able to solve, right? We are a permanently work from home company. We launched bang in the middle of the lockdown in June. And it's been fantastic for us because we now have access to both clients and talent across India, Europe, Middle East, and Africa. We're working with clients across these geographies. This essentially is a suite of services that we provide, from brand creation to consumer strategy to go-to-market strategies for India, Europe, and the US markets. Digital marketing, the full suite of digital marketing services, as well as technology services, right from building e-commerce marketplaces to doing security audits to consulting on the right kind of tech stack that clients should implement. Relevant maybe to a lot of you in the technology and entertainment, the brands that we have built in our previous jobs, working with Amazon on their entire brand marketing mandate. Ola, Mobile Premier League, which is currently a client of ours. I've been instrumental in launching Dream11, as well as Hotstar I've launched. Worked extensively with Sony Music, YouTube, the entire social media for YouTube and Google over the last 6 years. And other brands in the FMCG and lifestyle space, Pepsi to Red Bull to Puma to IKEA. So it's a long list of clients. Coming to our topic, the 5 pillars of digital strategy. This has come basically from our learnings of having worked. We work currently with Mobile Premier League. We do their performance marketing creative, as well as working on large digital campaigns for them. And we are the integrated brand strategy and communications partner for Dozy, which is a health tech client. Some of you might have heard of it. They just won the Economic Times Innovation Award for the most innovative product of 2020. So what I'm going to present you are frameworks which we use for both these clients. And these are frameworks which are practical, easy to use, non-jargon, and easily implementable. The first pillar is what we call goal setting. The second pillar is what I call audience profiling. The third is content strategy. The fourth is creative execution, which is very important. And the fifth one is your distribution strategy, is essentially media, right? When a little bit of explanation on this. I always believe that if you don't know where you want to go, how are you going to reach there? So even before you start thinking of marketing and communication and brand building and performance, I think it's very important to figure out what are the metrics to track, right? And I will come to that slide explaining how we look at metrics and what are the metrics that we need to track for different goals, right? The second is what we call audience profiling. I believe that your consumers are audiences first. They become a consumer or a customer when you eventually manage to lead them to your e-commerce site or your app download site. Till then, they're audiences, right? The final mile conversion is where audiences turn to customers. So what is their behavior? How do you sort of categorize them, and how do you understand what are they looking for on different platforms, and actually what kind of people exist online? The third piece is content strategy. This is a big raging debate, right? Everybody is creating content. There's a huge debate. Facebook keeps saying, 15 seconds is ideal length, but when it comes to building their own brand, a 7-minute long TV commercial. So what really works? What should your content strategy be? What are the formats you should look at? And I believe that there are no big ideas in the world. There are only big executions. So if you don't execute your idea in the way it has to be executed, the outcome is not going to happen. So how do you create a framework, what I call a campaign architecture framework? Because it's, you crack a big idea and then, you are like, okay, I'll do social media, I'll do Twitter, I'll do LinkedIn, I'll do some TVC, I'll do a digital video, let me do some activation. And I think this whole phrase 360-degree communication is very abused. Nobody needs 360-degree communication. What you need is communication that works for you. The temptation is always to do 100 different things, but most of us do not have the financials or the bandwidth to do more than 3 or 4 things. As one of my clients very nicely put it, you can either be a mile wide and an inch deep, or you can be an inch wide and a mile deep. My recommendation always is be an inch wide and a mile deep, and then you can increase that inch wide to a mile wide. But depth is always important and focus is always important. The last piece is distribution strategy. Where do we want to spend money? How do we use analytics? A lot of technology startups that I know and I've worked with, in-house media to a large extent, especially performance performance media, which is ideal because that's where your data comes in. That's where you learn about your consumers. So the last part of it, a lot of you might already know, but there's sort of a little framework I've created, right? Goal setting, as we say, this is how we look at it. I'm not saying this is universally right, and everybody else who's not doing this is doing it wrong. This is what works for us. This is what works for our clients. We look at goals from a brand perspective and a performance perspective, brand building and performance marketing. So we look at brand from when we look at the kind of creative formats. We look at video, which is huge, which is big. The internet is growing in India, and Google has been saying this for the last 4 or 5 years. Video, vernacular, and voice. These are the three things which are going to grow the internet in India, and these are the three things which will also help brands grow. So obviously you have your video formats, you have your static posts, or you call them GIF-based posts or banners, and then you have influencer marketing, which is very huge. I mean, that by itself is like a 2-hour session on what is influencer marketing and what are the right ways to do it. What I always look at is when it comes to videos, forget views, right? Views can be bought. There is no point in saying, my video got 5 million views, somebody else to come in 15 million views. It's a question of how much money you have, right? And with whichever platform you talk to, saying, if somebody watches it for 3 seconds, it's considered a view. Drop views from your metrics, look at shares and comments. The whole objective of creating a video story is for people to like it, share it, and engage with it. Just passive viewing is like television commercials, and we are in the digital space. It needs to be interactive. Digital means interactivity. And for me, video interaction is all about, is it being shared? Is it being spoken about? Whether it's negative or positive is a different thing. It depends on what the content is and what the story is. But if people are sharing, it means that somewhere you're succeeding with your video. When it comes to static and influencer, I would look at average engagement, and there's a standard metric to sort of measure this. When it comes to performance, depending on your business, you can look at app downloads, you can look at subscription, which is basically, for example, if you're a mobile real money gaming platform, you do not measure your performance marketing in cost per click or cost per download. You look at cost per deposit, which basically means how many people have actually downloaded my app, registered, and have paid money to start playing, right? And then obviously you have sales. Again, for example, when I look at Dozy, the performance marketing metric for Dozy would be how many units have we sold. So you look at cost per sale, right? And I mean, depending on your business model, you might have other metrics, but the left side is brand building. The right side is what I call dhanda, right? And these two the goals need to be very clear right in the beginning, because this dictates the choice of creative, the formats, and most importantly, your production budgets as well as your media budgets, right? If you get into it, the whole thing without looking at this basic goal setting, you will not know what you're spending money and what you're expecting from it. Second thing is audience profiling, right? I broadly am looking at what are the type of audience we're talking to, what is their behavior, what is the classification in kind of creative or the kind of campaign you run, what is the content format recommendation, and what should be the primary platform to talk to each of these audiences. Broadly, and this is something which YouTube also recommends, there are 3 kinds of audience behaviors or audience segments we see online. One is what you call browsers, the second is subscribers, the third is searchers. Who are these people? Browsers are people who are looking for inspiring content. They're not looking for anything specific. This is what you call time pass on social media or on YouTube. You're just scrolling through stuff and you're saying, kuch mil gaya to acha hai, I want to watch anything interesting catches their eye, right? Subscribers are people who have probably already following certain handles, certain pages, could be brand pages, could be content platform pages. And it's like, you subscribe to your daily newspaper, you expect the newspaper to come in every day, right? Caution here, your favorite toothpaste might be Colgate, but you're not going to get up in the morning and say, I want to see what Colgate has done on Facebook today. Nobody cares about brands. Nobody goes to brand pages, right? What you're competing as a brand is not your direct competitor on social media. You're competing with every cat and dog video and every music video out there, because you're basically competing for audience attention, right? And that determines what kind of content you put out. searchers are people who have questions and they're looking for answers, right? They're looking for, it could be something as simple as, how do I fix my desk lamp electrical wiring, to something as complex as my car engine is not starting. And today, typically, there are platforms where you find answers for everything, whether it's Google or YouTube or Reddit, right? So these are basically searchers. In the old days, we used to call them on websites FAQs, frequently asked questions, right? What kind of campaigns should you create? I mean, again, this is a YouTube recommended framework. Hero, Hub, Help. Hero campaigns are once your big large campaigns. If you're a fairly large brand, you would do one large campaign every quarter or every 4 months. This is what you call hero campaigns, where you're launching something new or introducing a big new feature, and you want mass awareness for this, right? And you want a lot of people to know about this. Subscribers is what we recommend calling hub campaigns, which is essentially where you're, and again, a very abused, much abused word phrase, always on. My point is, why do you need always on? Please have always relevant. Just because you have a Twitter handle and it costs zero money to tweet doesn't mean you put out a tweet on everything, right? So if, for example, again, coming back to Mobile Premier League, if you're a gaming platform, please don't think of doing campaigns around Mother's Day just because the whole world is doing campaigns around Mother's Day. It is not relevant to you, right? It is not relevant to your audience as they connect with you as a brand. Help is basically, you know, people are looking for questions, and this is where you create a lot of blog articles, video, DIY, product demo videos, and you host them on YouTube. And the reason I'm saying that is the hero campaigns are usually high impact, well-produced video stories, whether it's a television commercial or a digital film. The hub campaigns are usually smaller video, 10-15 second videos, and static and GIF-based content. It could be on Twitter, it could be on Facebook. And your help campaigns are basically how-to videos and blog articles, depending on which category, what kind of brand you are, and what is your product or service, right? And the choice of primary platforms, the large campaigns usually do well on Twitter and Facebook, and obviously you will host it on YouTube because it's video. I'm including TikTok in the hub thing because at some point of time, TikTok will come back, and there are many different TikTok equivalents today, whether you call it Reels or Fleet or Stories or whatever else it is. Everybody is launching a new video feature. And search, I would recommend that you invest heavily on YouTube, because what you call the next billion users are increasingly coming to YouTube to find answers to their questions, because even in their native language, they're not very proficient in reading and writing. Google, when you search, it will give you text links. So you'll have to click on the links and go probably read something else. But on YouTube, for every query, and with voice search today available, you get instantly get a video in the language that you want, which is easy for you to understand. So this framework, works really well when you look at profiling your audience. And yeah, you can get into consumer persona development and all of that. That's a little more complex, and I'm not getting into that. But this is a basic framework which works for everyone. How do you create a content strategy? 3 things go into creating a content strategy. What is your brand, right? Define what your brand's core offering is. Define very clearly what is the consumer problem that you're solving, right? It's not about I want to sell, or consumers are looking for a new toothpaste. Nobody is looking for a new toothpaste. It's a simple example when it comes to toothpaste, right? For a very long time, Colgate and Pepsodent were fighting the germ wars, and suddenly Sensodyne comes in and says, you know what is happening in the world? People are eating different kinds of food, and that's affecting the teeth, right? There's a lot of sensitivity issues, so they went and launched Sensodyne in India. Before anybody could realize it, it became a 100 crore brand. Why did Sensodyne succeed? Because they read culture, right? It's very important to understand, because your consumers and brands do not exist in a vacuum. They exist in this ecosystem we call culture. And it's very important to understand what's happening in culture and how that is impacting your consumer. And therefore, what is the role your brand has to play in it? When you put these 3 things together, that's when the magic happens. And this is where you need a good communication partner or a consultant or an internal team, which can come out with, put these 3 things together and come out with what we call a conversation idea. It's a one-line expression of what your brand wants to talk about, which is relevant to your consumer, it is rooted in culture and therefore solves a genuine consumer problem, right? And then you divide that into different conversation buckets for different platforms on social media. Very simple framework, looks simple, difficult to execute, and this is where you might want to spend some time, whether you have a current agency partner or you in an internal team. But this is very important because it's easy to do. A lot of brands have a very well-defined brand strategy document. Most brands do not have a content strategy document. And today, content is very important because 80%, as an example, 80% of the mobile data that India consumes is spent on watching videos, right? And on an average, we scroll through 350 feet of content on our cell phones every day. So content is big, but it's very important to have a structure and a strategy for content. Coming to the fourth part, creative execution. A lot of times the question always is, what do I do? How much should I do? What are the different things I should do? I would say start with two things. You figured your conversation idea out. You know what your communication objective is. Now break this down into what are the potential barriers you're going to face in order for you to successfully communicate what you want to and get the outcome that you want. So I call this defining them as barriers. Barrier 1, barrier 2, barrier 3, there could be 5, there could be 10, there could only be 2. But be very clear what are your barriers to communication. Then figure out what is the solution for each barrier, right? How do you solve this this challenge or this hurdle that you're facing? And then appoint a lead platform for each barrier. Don't try and do everything on one platform. Twitter, for example, is very good to get instant outreach because that's the nature of that platform. Facebook is slightly a little more everyday constant engagement, slightly more slow burn. LinkedIn, if your business or your product demands a LinkedIn presence, then it's all about networking, right? So you need to build your LinkedIn presence. You need to put out a lot of, you need to demonstrate knowledge, expertise, network with people in your category and maybe your potential customers. So every platform has a different behavior and every platform therefore needs to be assigned a different role in your overall creative execution. Obviously, all of this needs to be anchored by your brand design and copy tonality, which is what we call look and feel. It's very important that you are communicating this is one single brand across all platforms. Otherwise, it can come across looking like this brand has a multiple split personality problem, and everywhere you're talking a different language, right? This is the format that I follow for creative execution. This is something that we've developed in-house, worked really well for a bunch of brands that we worked with. The last part is your distribution strategy. I mean, again, goes back to goal setting. You have conversion goals, you have engagement goals, you have influence goals. And, again, I will not spend too much time on it. If you have a media agency, if you have in-house media experts, they will tell you better. But this is a framework which works well for distribution strategy, right? So these are 5 pillars are what I call the 5 pillars of digital strategy, which work for us. Again, I'm not saying this is a universal truth and everybody else is doing things wrong, but this has worked really well for me in my career and for Gravity right now, which is the company that I run. Ravi, how are we doing for time?
Prashant, I think we have about 5 more minutes.
Okay, so I wanted to take you guys through a case study, but I think we have sort of run out of time for the case study. As I said, I will leave the deck with Ravi. You guys can take the deck and access it. See the case study, which is basically how we launched Truly Madly some years back, and which is like which neatly tells you how this framework that I've shown you actually comes to life, right? So
you can take. I think, like I said, we have about 5 more minutes.
Ravi, this itself will take about 15 minutes.
Okay, all right. Okay,
that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Yeah. So anybody has any questions you want to Ravi, how do you want to do this?
So we haven't heard of any questions coming in from the audiences yet, but there are a couple of things that were sort of running in my mind as you were talking, Prashant, and perhaps I could pose those questions. So as somebody who's been on the agency side as well as on the client side now, the one thing that I often sort of see is where the idea of a digital strategy is confused, or only with either performance marketing or only with social media strategy, right? And then I think you laid out very well in your presentation about the 5 key pillars. You said goal, you said audience, you said content, creative, and distribution. And distribution didn't just mean any one channel, but in this whole mix, right? I mean, particularly for startups and entrepreneurs out here, and you're an entrepreneur yourself, Prashant. So we do understand that you don't obviously always come with deep pockets. What would you say? Where should they begin? Where should their first step into really into a digital strategy lie?
Um, forget the budgets. That's what I said, right? If you have a very well-defined consumer problem that you're solving, and you therefore have a sharply defined product or service which will help you solve that problem. And in a lot of cases, that's where a lot of startups go wrong. I believe that either they haven't defined the consumer problem right, or they haven't really thought through their product, with due respect to everybody who's doing this. But I think a lot of time needs to go into thinking through this before you actually launch. And there is never a perfect product. You always improve as you go along. Even with Gravity, for example, what we thought initially, I'm just thinking about it 1.5 years back, right? And we did a lot of research with CEOs, CMOs, founders of startup companies about asking them, what is it that you really are missing in the communication or the consulting landscape today? And that is where we came in saying, and your consumers will always tell you what, even if you don't want to hear it, they will tell you what their pain point is. What we kept hearing is creative agencies are great with brand, consumer, and TVC. Digital agencies are great with platform and digital. Digital guys do not get brand and consumer. Mainline creative agencies don't get digital. But in either case, neither of them wants to get into our business and help us succeed at a business level, right? So we saw an opportunity there as saying, if we can build a company which does business consulting but also does digital execution, then we provide the solution. We are also executing the solution, and we are therefore responsible for the outcome as well, right? If you don't put your skin in the game, if you don't put your neck on the line, I don't think then you're very replaceable. Today, the number of pitches which are happening, every 1 year the client can ask for a pitch, unless you get into the client's business where they genuinely see, okay, this guy is actually interested in me making money, and that's how he will make money, right? I think getting into the business part of things is very important. At least that's how we think, that's how we are structured. And that's what I would say for startup, for everybody who's an entrepreneur. At some point of time, the money will come either through funding or you're bootstrapped yourself. But it's very important to spend time thinking through what is it that you want to build. And yeah, I mean, one thing I've learned the hard way, never spend more money than you can afford to earn, right? Revenue first, resource next. Yeah, you need a core set of resources. So beg, borrow, steal, ask people for favors. That's what I have done when we started Gravity, because I was very clear we don't want to go in for funding. And anyway, in my industry, people don't just fund a fresh new startup. There is no Series A funding, unless you want to give away a significant majority part of your equity, which we were not willing to do. Because for us, a big learning, I want to grow at the right pace. I want to be structurally sound. Then I want to get into the big brands, and I want to get large mandates. Because if I don't get my culture right, if I don't get my structure right, and a big client comes and gives us business, we will collapse, right? So for me, this is year 1 of our operations. I'm not looking at scale in year 1. I'm looking at proof of concept. I'm looking at break even. I'm looking at doing some really great work in year 1. And I've always believed when you do good work, that's your calling card. You don't have to do unnecessary PR. When people see good work come out, they will call your client. 5 of them will call your client and say, hey, who's doing this for you? Can you introduce us to? And in my business, that's how it works. Word of mouth, referrals, advocacy. Yes, having a social media presence, doing your PR, you have to do that. But if you depend on that alone to get business, I usually haven't seen that happen too much.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Thanks so much, Prashant. It genuinely was a very, very effective session. And I think most importantly, I think your presentation, your thoughts adhered to the objective of the topic, where we said clearly identifying those 5 pillars for effective digital marketing. And just to summarize again for the audience, I want to sort of leave you to think about the fact that Prashant said, have a goal, be clear about who your audience is, profile them, content strategy, creative strategy, as well as execution, and finally distribution. If you sort these 3 things, you are well sorted, of course, to get on a good, effective digital marketing strategy for your.
Yeah, and the reason why I wanted to show these frameworks is there is a framework. You can actually fill that framework down in that one slide. So effectively, your entire strategy is 5 slides. You can take a printout, put it on the wall, look at it every day, and say, if I'm not doing this, then if I'm doing anything outside of this, then I'm doing it wrong.
Wonderful.
Right? Whatever it is that what works for you. So I wanted today, for me, the whole focus was I want people to take away something which they can immediately start executing, and not a lot of gyan giving. There's enough blogs and stuff out there.
But you know, just right now there's a question, and we are running out of time, so I'll just pose it to you quickly. Maybe you can sort of answer. So this person says, how do we decide our budget for my digital marketing based on what metrics?
Very simple metrics. You need to have a very clear revenue goal, and whether you're a product or a service, there needs to be some sort of a revenue goal. And then you need to do your research in the market about, if I want to reach this revenue goal in 1 year, how much is it going to cost me to get there, which determines what your media spend is going to be, right? And every category has its own benchmarks, right? Cost per conversion. I mean, and this is where you need good, intelligent people to work you from either from a media agency or an in-house media team. The first thing I always say, please figure out what is your sales goal, what is the revenue and the margin that you want to earn. Then accordingly decide on what media spend you should do, because those media spends are benchmarked. They're easily available if you talk to the right people. How much should I spend on brand building is completely up to you. Like a lot of startup founders focus on performance because they want revenue in, but globally it's been proved by even Adidas admitted this in 2017. They made a mistake. If you disproportionately spend money on performance and do not focus on building brand, in the long term, your performance marketing efforts will cost you a lot more, right? And that's why today, when you refer to an Apple, or these are all brands, they've spent significant amount of money building that brand perception, building that brand equity. So for startups, I would say maybe ballpark 30% of your budget should go in brand building, 70% on performance. It could be 60-40, but don't make it 80% or 90% on performance and ignore the brand, because it's very simple in today's market. Technology is easily accessible. Somebody will come and build the same product that you have in 6 months' time. They will build a brand. They might discount the product, and suddenly you will see your market share has gone away.
Wonderful.
And that's why brand building is important.
I mean, we've had a couple of more questions, but I'm really cognizant of time, so I'll just read out, a compliment that's come by your way. It says, "Can we have a case study from you in brief, please? You're explaining brilliantly. Best session." Unfortunately, as I already discussed with Prashant, there was no way to, summarize that case study in the available time that we had. Prashant is available on LinkedIn. I think the best way to sort of really make use of his abilities, capabilities, and that of Gravity's is to connect with him on LinkedIn. And I'm sure you will find a way forward. I'm sure as kind and generous as he's been in sharing with me and with us this framework that he's built for his organization, he'll be more than happy to walk you through.
And for anybody who wants to access this framework, there is also a case study built into this deck. I'll share this deck with Ravi and the team. Please reach out to them, and they will give you access to this deck. I'll host it on Google Drive so that everybody can have access to it.
Wonderful. That's super generous of you, Prashant. Thank you so much for coming over, sparing your time for this session. Really a big pleasure to have you.
Thank you, Ravi. I've really enjoyed this. And guys, thank you for patiently listening to what I had to say. I hope it sort of helped you or will help you in the future. And please do reach out. And as a startup, please give me business. I don't mind.
Best of luck, Prashant. Good day.
Thank you so much.